To another episode of Groovy Tuesday. My name's Paul Church from Clarity Stamp here in the UK. Hope everybody's doing okay. I'll give it a few minutes for you to find the video, and then we'll get going. A quick slurp of coffee. How is everyone today? It's a bit of a freaky weather down here in Kent. What's the weather like with you today? It was blustery and it was wet and it was raining and it was all over the place this morning, and it sort of keeps coming and going. I don't know what the forecast meant to be for the rest of the week, but I'm hoping it will clear up by the weekend. So just waiting for the all clear from Stuart to let me know that the sound is all okay. And just wait to see a few people popping into the chat. There we go. Lorraine, first in the queue. Lorraine, good morning. Lovely and sunny in Estepona. Very nice. Sunshine. What does that look like? Oh yeah, it was nice at the weekend, wasn't it? Here in the UK. Good morning, Sharon, Susan, Sue, Elaine. And is that there we go, Stuart. All good. Thank you, Stuart. Stuart is in the room with you today. If you have any questions, I'm sure some of our lovely design team will be in the room as well. If you have any questions during the course of the next hour. So yeah, looking forward to finishing off our Christmas tree. Is it wrong to say finishing off the Christmas tree on the 1st of November? Where has the time gone? Is this quicker than putting up a Christmas tree? How long does it take you to put your Christmas tree up at home? I know when I used to go to my nan's when I was younger, it was tradition. I'd always go over to my nan's at Christmas and help her put up a Christmas tree. And she lived on the 8th floor of a block of flats, and it looked out onto a main road, and she had dual aspect windows, and she put a tree in each of the windows. And so many lights. It was like Blackpool illuminations. And I think we'd start, say, on the Saturday morning, and we wouldn't be finished by the end of the day because the lights had to go on in a particular way, and then the window. And what was it like? You had to test the lights first. They would have been working the year before, but magically, when you got them out of the box the following year, they didn't work. I remember many a time having to pop into Woolworths to get some replacement bulbs. And that was sort of like a 10-15 minute walk away in Bermondsey. And yeah, gosh, that brought back some memories. But yeah, how long does it take you to put your tree up? Good morning from Washington, DC. Good morning, Ingrid. Karin, Helen, New Hampshire having an Indian summer. By the end of the week, it will be in the 70s. Very nice, Jeffrey. Good morning, Mary and Sue. Oh, so many friendly faces. Or say faces. I can only see tiny little faces. Friendly names. So there we go. Josie's in the room. I do the tree one day, and then the rest of the decorations are done during the following days. Josie loves Christmas. Linda Williams is in the room. Good morning, Wales. What's it like in Wales, Linda? I bet it's wet and windy as well, isn't it? It's always wet and windy in Wales. So, well, it was when I went anyway. But Linda in South Wales had lovely weather. So, touch windy in Cornwall. Helen, it takes a day to do a tree. Linda says, don't ask. Ken says he remembers the traditional visit to Woolies for replacement tree, but I know they used to have, and you had the screw-in ones, they were the early ones, and then you had the push-in ones, didn't you? And all it took was that little bit of wire just to have fallen out or disappeared. But isn't it crazy how, as I say, all the lights are working one year, you put them in the box at the end of Christmas, open them up the next year, and they don't work. So, yeah. It feels weird, sort of, not weird talking about Christmas. I mean, say the 1st of November, I've already seen on Facebook a few people have got their trees up already. They started celebrating with Halloween and then they just bring it up. So yeah, family traditions, isn't it? I think Christmas time, setting the tree, whether it be an evening meal or whether it be Christmas Day. I think it's probably one of the only times where sort of traditions sort of carry on, don't they? I mean, obviously, some people have traditions at birthdays and anniversaries, but I think Christmas, it's stuff that gets handed down, whether they be decorations. I've got some decorations for my nan that are older than me. They were tiny, beautiful little birds with feathers and little clips used to clip onto the tree, and real candles, little clips. I mean, we'll only put them on now for decoration purposes. Obviously, wouldn't think about lighting them. Yeah, funny. Yeah, memories. The mind plays games, doesn't it? Of how just talking about one thing, decorating the Christmas tree, and it took me back all those years ago. So, right, okay. So what are we up to this week? Hope everybody's well. So Helen says during lockdown she didn't take any stair decorations down all year. I know, it's horrible, isn't it? When Christmas is over, I mean, you squeeze the tree in to a space that didn't really exist, and then after Christmas you take it down and it just looks so empty. Yeah, but we're doing a Groovi tree, so designed by the lovely Linda Williams. We're concentrating on 2 different plates, and I'm hoping today we can finish off our Christmas tree, and then next week we'll have a look at the stocking. Beautiful layered Christmas tree, all the different sections. You've got all the different decorative elements on there. You can have a star, you can have an angel. The choices are yours. And then we have the stocking, very Nordic in feel, I think, because we're all sort of like the dot matrix type of effect. And then you've got the toys as well. Look, I mean, look at these tiny little houses. And you've got the dotty ones, and then you've got the outline, so you can combine both of those together. So, but we're going to finish off with our Christmas tree. Okay. And then next week, fingers crossed, depending on how today goes, if I don't waffle too much, we'll make a start on the stocking. So where we're heading with the tree, if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Where have you been? This is a layered Christmas tree, and this has been made by the lovely Linda Williams. And each of these are individual sections. Okay. And last week we started on our Pico cutting. So we're going to continue with that. But if you're not at that stage on your bus journey with your Pico cutting yet, then it's simplistic in design that you can just use a normal pair of scissors to cut them out. Okay. So what we've been doing is we took a green piece of parchment and we traced out all the different elements to it. Okay. And then we started our perforating around here. And I will zoom in a little while so we can really focus on the areas. But as you can see, if let me turn it this way so you can look at the large one. But you can see if you want to, you can just cut out with a normal pair of scissors. So hands up, who's going to Pico cut and who's going to straight cut? It doesn't matter. As long as you're happy with the result, then that's the main thing, isn't it? So what we're going to end up with are various different elements. Okay, so let's bring these in. So you can see there's the main tree. Then we have the next one that sits on top, but they work independently as well. Let me take the white piece of card and pop that underneath so you can really see the green. So there we go. So we've got the lovely green. Then we've got the next one, and all of a sudden it starts to add depth to it. Okay, so what have we got so far? So Pico cut, Pico cut, Pico cut, straight cut for Tina. That's fine. Do you know what? You'll still get the same lovely result whether you do the Pico cutting or the straight cutting. Okay, and then we're just building up our layers like so. And this is where we're going to end up, hopefully, by the end of today. And then don't forget, we also do the card blanks that go with them. So I'm sure Stuart will pop a link up for me with the card blanks if you're interested in those. Created by Mr. Dave on his big old platen press. Pre-scored. Now, you can have it as a freestanding card, or you can just chop it in two thing and have two separate cards. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so what we're going to need for this morning's session is our Pico foam, not our Pico foam, our super foam. So I've got my 12 by 12 super foam. We need our artwork that we've been working on. Then we need our 2 needle bolt, our Groovi guard, and a tumble sheet. That's what we're going to get started with at the beginning. Okay. And I'm going to zoom right in very closely so we can see if you're new to perforating, freestyle and Pico cutting, then hopefully I can get the camera in close enough so that everyone at home can see what I'm doing. So, are we ready to go? Not so much waffling today, 10 past. That must be a record. I'm sure I could still waffle for a bit while you get all your bits together. See, Glynis is in the room, Jane's in the room. So, I mean, Glynis, queen of snipping. If you've ever been to our open days or our parchment retreats, you may have had a one-to-one with Glynis, who's queen of the snip clinic. Mary's saying my Pico cutting is still a bit up and down, but then Christmas trees are not perfectly straight. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the overall effect that we're going for. And what does it matter if one of the little Picos is a little bit crooked or wonky? It doesn't matter, does it? For me, it's the sense of achievement once we've done all the different elements. Okay. So what we're going to do, I think we're ready to go now. So I Pico cut the first one. And what we're going to do, I'm going to go in and Pico cut the rest of them, perforated the first one. So we're going to go around and perforate all of the others first. And then, Ken, your jokes are terrible. We wish you a Merry Pico and a happy emboss. Oh dear, Ken. Ken has a sideline, I'm sure. I'm sure he writes those jokes for the Christmas crackers. If he doesn't, then he should. Okay, so as I say, what we're going to do, we're going to perforate first all of the trees where we need to perforate, and then we'll start our Pico cutting. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate on this area here. Now, what I'm going to do to make it easier, I'm going to take my tumble dry sheet, open it up nice and flat, and I'm going to put the parchment on top. Now, when we do when we do our perforating, we perforate from the front of our work. So what we've been doing previously, we've been doing our white work and our tracing out from the back. And you can see it's muted in color tone because we're using our colored parchment. So if you're using colored parchment, make sure that when you come to do your perforating, you've got your white line art facing you. Okay. And when we look at the tree, we're not going to actually perforate the whole of the tree. because we're going to layer it up. So all we're going to concentrate is the lower section of the tree. Okay, we're going to sort of stop at that point. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take my Groovi guard. Glasses are required for this. I've got to get a new prescription. Well, I've got a new prescription. I've just got to get the glasses done now. Let's just give them a wipe so I can see. Oh dear, very filthy. So we'll just give these a little wipe. Otherwise, they won't be of any use whatsoever. That's better. Hey. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in now. Okay, zoom in. I need to go this way. So what we'll do, I'll zoom in as close as I can get without it going too fuzzy. Let me bring my hand in now. Yep, so if I move, just want to make sure, there we go. And we're going to start on this area here. So if you're new to freestyle perforating, and what I mean by freestyle is that we're using the solid white line as our guide, and we're perforating on the outside of our artwork. Okay, so for this we're using the 2-needle bold. Now you can use the 2-needle fine if you wish to, but if you're new, then the 2-needle bold will give you a slightly bigger hole. Let me see if I can show you. If I perforate here, okay, so let me show you the difference between the sizes. So this is the, I will lift it up so you can see. Now if I take the fine, okay, they have the same pitch between them to give us that perfect Pico. But if I bring that up to the camera now, if I can get it right. So there we go. So this row here is the bold, and this row here is the fine. Okay, so you decide which needle tool you wish to go for, whether it be the bold or the fine. I'm going with the bold until I get my new glasses. Okay, now when you're perforating with the 2-needle, you're only increasing by 1 perforation at a time. Let's see if I can come in on this camera. Okay, and what you do is you go back into the last hole that you made and you perforate. And so now we're just increasing by 1 perforation. I'm going to bring this camera in a little bit closer as well. So just bear with me while I go around and adjust this camera as well. So let's have a look. There we go. I'm going to see how far I can come in on this one. And I'll reposition the artwork, but maybe this camera, maybe this camera may be better while I show the perforating. Okay, right, let's have a little looky. So we're going to start on the lower part of the tree. Now I'm going to use, see, this is where the Groovi guard really comes into play, because I can choose which aperture I want to concentrate on. So we're going to start off, we're going to hold the tool upright, and I'm perforating on the outside of the work. Okay. And then we just go along and we just perforate. And what we're doing, we're using the super foam, and just out of habit, I just tend to, how far do you go in with the tools? I tend to go all the way in with the needles, but it's just, I suppose it's just that feeling that you get when you're perforating. Okay, then we're going to come round, and all I'm doing, if you watch my, let me coming over this way a little bit more. All I'm going to do now, I'm just turning the tool slightly just to go around that corner. Okay, so I'm keeping my work in place, but now it's going to be easier if I turn my work. Okay, so let's just move that out of the way. So I'm going to turn it round now. There we go. And then we're going to continue with our perforating. See, this is very, for me, I find this just as relaxing as when we're tracing out the design. Okay, so I've got to that corner now. So I'm going to turn my work again, because the position in which I'm holding the tool is most comfortable for me. Rather than turning my hand, I'm turning my work. And it also means that I can see where my perforations are. Okay. Now, if I was at home, I'd be using my light panel with my white superfoam so that it illuminates from underneath. Okay, so we're just going to go around. Also, it's knowing whether, how far to go into that corner. Can you hear the rain? It started raining again. I don't know if you can, whether the mic's going to pick it up, but it is absolutely, well, it sounds as if it's torrential out there. It doesn't matter. We're on the Groovi Tuesday bus, and we're nice and dry. So we're warm, we're dry. Well, I am. Unless anybody's out and about watching Groovi Tuesday. I know we've often had people tuning in from fast food restaurants having a cheeky breakfast or a coffee. See, that's the benefit of technology. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you've got some form of connectivity, then you can tune in. But maybe you're tuning in afterwards because you've been at work, or you've been out shopping, or you've had chores to do. These are on our YouTube page forever and ever. So if you've missed any of the previous episodes, so I've just had a look this morning. We're on episode 69 of Groovi Tuesday. And where has the time gone? Anybody out there tuning in for the first time, just found us? If so, say hello. Tell us where you're from, if you're not too shy. Nobody bites, unless they're really hungry. So, yeah, it'd be nice. See if we've got any new viewers in the room today. I see you're all still talking about the weather, isn't it? Like very British, isn't it? Talking about the weather. It's either too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. It's always too something, isn't it? Oops, went a bit wrong there. But it doesn't matter. As I say, in the whole scheme of things, it's really not going to show that much. Okay, so we've nearly done, where are we going? The next one. So, going around the corner. The bold, if you're new to perforating and Pico cutting freestyle, then the bold definitely helps because the hole's slightly bigger. So when you're inserting the tips of your scissors into the perforations, it's easier to find. Either that, or you can get a magnifying glass. Okay, so that's the next one. Let's come on the overhead on this one. Where are we going on that one? Okay, so that's the second one done. And you'll see that I've just stopped at those points because the rest is going to be cut out with a normal pair of scissors. Okay, because all of these layers are going to be hidden by the one that goes on top. Okay, so now we can move on to our next one. So it doesn't take long. Once you get into it, let me get this right so it's comfortable. And we'll go back on this camera. Right, where are we going now? Let me put the guard in place so it gives me my... There we go. So it's right into that corner. And as you get into, you'll find you'll get into a rhythm and you'll know how far to move your hand every time to reinsert the tool or not, as I've just done there. So you're talking about it and doing it, two different things. And then as I go around the corner, I'm just turning the tool until I'm on a straight, so to speak. Okay. So we're going to go along. Hopefully, everyone okay with what they can see? Anyone got any questions? Not that I can answer while I'm doing this, but we just go along following the outside of the line. Now, I just had a bit of a panic moment. I nearly got confused thinking, am I perforating on the outside or the inside of the line? So if you're going to focus using the Groovi guard on an area, okay, do a perforation first so that when you put your Groovi guard on, you know which side of the line you're meant to be on, rather than confining the area you're working on and then going on the wrong side. Okay, top tip to stop the panic setting in. So we're going to carry on. See, once you get into it, I mean, I'm not going fast because it's all about enjoying it and for people to watch at home. Now, I've seen Josie with her perforating with like a 2 needle, 3 needle, 4 needle, and she's like a little sewing machine. It's just up and down on super duper speed. But she has been doing it for many years. Queen of Grids is our Josie. Talking of Queen of Grids, next week I shall have a sneaky peek for you of the upcoming one-day special. Yeah. I mean, we're back in the shack with Barb on Thursday. And then on Sunday, excuse me, it's the first Sunday of the month. So Barb's on TV 3 till 5 on Sunday. And then the following week is a brand new Groovi one-day special. Looking forward to that, indeed. And if you like lace work, all I'm going to say, if you like lace work, then tune in next Tuesday and then tune in for the one-day special, because it is very special indeed. And then go along. Try not to hit the white line. He says, slurp a coffee. Oh. Why is Jane saying, oh, okay, I definitely need to get these glasses sorted. I thought Jane was talking about wool, as in knitting wool, but it was woo with an exclamation mark at the end. So Josie's been doing her grid work since 1998. Plenty of practice, she says. And I suppose it's like anything, the more you do something, the easier it becomes. Well, hopefully the easier it becomes. And if you've got the right tools and the right equipment and the right tools to help, then it definitely does become easier. And for me, with parchment craft, the key thing is, hang on, sorry about this, I bet you feel a bit seasick now. Hang on, I've still got to turn it again. Sorry, there we go. For me, that makes any of this possible is the Groovi system, to give me that line art every single time. Because if I didn't get the line art beautifully done every single time, then I wouldn't really want to do anything else with it. Because I think, the line art's a bit rubbish. So I'm not going to bother trying to learn anything else. There we go. Let me put this in place. Hang on. This one. That's it. So I'm going to do what I said. I'm going to perforate first on the outside of the line. Now I'm going to put my Groovi guard in place so that I know I'm perforating on the right side of the line. Here we go along. And then as I come to the bend, I'm just turning the tool slightly. And then when I come back onto the straight area, I'm then turning my work so that it's easier for me to see. Okay. Has anyone finished their perforating yet? Who's finished their Christmas tree completely? Go on. I'm sure a number of you have already. Hands up, who's all finished? I'll have a look up in a minute. See who's done. Or who's perforating as we go. Seasick, a life on the Groovi wave. Oh, Ken. Oh, dear. Maybe we should have our own Groovi crackers. Well, as soon as I said that, we have got a Groovi template for Christmas crackers. I'm sure Stuart can pop a link up to that plate, because it's a fantastic plate with Christmas coming up. As always, lots of decorative elements to the cracker plate. And easy to do. I'm sure also, I think Glynis did a step-by-step on the Clarity Matters blog, maybe last year or earlier in the year, I think. I'm sure she has, or Josie may have done it, or Jane, but I'm sure there's a step-by-step tutorial on the Clarity Matters blog as well. Who reads the oops, sorry, I've gone out of focus. Who reads the Clarity Matters blog on a Sunday morning? Hands up, come on. Show your hands. Just try and... It's weird coming in on this angle of this camera over here. Just trying to keep it... There we go. Glynis said she did a blog. There we go. So if you're looking for a little bit of luxury, then the Christmas cracker in parchment is fantastic. And it makes a cracker using an A4 piece of parchment, just like we are with the Christmas tree. But if you're looking for something smaller, then we have our cracker die that you can cut your parchment out with. Okay, so on the last two bits now. Let me see, I'm going to start on here. I'm just going to put the perforations in first, and then I'll reposition once I've got my marker in place. Come on. Oh dear. It's because I've come in so close to the side. It's sort of, I just have to get my bearings to get it in the middle of the screen. Yeah, of course. Grace does a Saturday share on the Clarity Matters blog as well, where she showcases all the beautiful artwork from people that are on Clarity Worldwide and Groovi Worldwide. And it just gives that, maybe you're not on Facebook, but you're still looking for some ideas and inspiration. Then the Saturday share that Grace does is brilliant, because what she does, she goes in and has a look at some artwork from members of the group and then shares it on the blog. So I'm sure Stuart could pop a link up to the Clarity Matters blog. Maybe you're new, you didn't know it existed. And then, of course, we've got Barbara's blog, barbaragrayblog.com. I went in the wrong hole there. Okay, I can correct it, sort of. Barb showcases up and coming TV shows, step-by-steps, what's going on behind the scenes at Clarity Towers, some of her pottery makes. It's been going for years and years and years. Okay, Stuart's just popped the links up to both of the blogs. Thank you, Stuart. So make sure you save those as favorites on your browsers and check them out on a regular basis. All right, we're on the final hurdle now. Hang on, where am I going? I'm going this way. Where am I going? There we go. Twisted it too far around, but we're on the tiny little elements now. One more little twist round. There we go. Coming in for the final stretch now. Just this part under here. And then we've got one more little section to perforate. And then we can start Pico cutting. So it's just this tiny little one now. And on this one, we're still going to follow the same. See, you've got these like little lines here. Then we're going to do exactly the same on there. Let's have a look at Linda's one. What did Linda do? Yeah, Linda did the same. So she's only going to perforate to here. So let's turn it round. There we go. I'm going to put my perforations in first. Then my guard in place. And then finish off the tip of the tree. And then this will be all of our perforating done. Okay, turn it around. Did anyone forget to put their clocks back at the weekend? I'm sure I changed my clocks, like my manual clocks, like the one on the fireplace, the one in the kitchen on the wall, the one on the oven. I changed all those before I went to bed, so that when I wake up the following morning, I didn't have to think, have I changed them? Have I not changed them? And it definitely makes a difference now, doesn't it? With the nights, all of a sudden the nights have drawn in really quickly. Okay, just that little bit there. And then almost finished. And then we'll have a slurp of coffee, and then we'll start our Pico cutting. If you choose to, that is. So what have we got coming up this week? So we're back in the shack with Barb on Thursday. Part 2 of those lovely snowdrops started yesterday. Really beautiful. And the way Barb breaks it down, she makes it so achievable. I remember at the beginning of lockdown, it all started with those little birds, didn't it? And now, when I see what people post after the shack is amazing. Right, okay, let's come back to the overhead. I'm going to keep the camera there, and I'll move the artwork. So let's turn it this way. So you can see we've perforated just around the bottom layers of our trees. I'll turn that around, same there. And then the same there. And then this was the one that we started last week with a little bit of Pico cutting. And breathe. Oh, I can't believe I mean, I know you say it on TV, the Groovi hours really do go quickly. And it's the same with Groovi Tuesday. 1 minute it's sort of like 10 o'clock, and then next thing I know, it's sort of like we're almost at 11:15 already. Madness. So when time flies, does that mean you're having a good time? I think it does. But it just flies too quickly. All right, let's put the cap back on there. Warm the hands up. for a little bit of Pico cutting. Who's trying Pico cutting for the first time? Who's still unsure whether they've got it or they haven't got it? I know for me, it took me about 6 months until I was happy with it. But then sometimes I'll have good days and sometimes I'll have bad days. I think it can depend on the frame of mind, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Yeah, the mind can play games on your hands, so to speak. You know what you want to achieve, but your hands are just not talking to your head. But you know what? We're gonna see how far we get with our Pico cutting today. So we're going to come in. So we've got 3 different scissors of choice. Okay. So we have, let's bring that over. So we have the exclusives, which are Barb's favourites. I think they're Linda's favourites as well, if I remember rightly. Then we have the ring lock, which I know are Tina's favourites. And the Perka cutters. So maybe you struggle sort of holding scissors, then these are like they're like squizzers, really. But what you'll notice on all of them is that they have really fine points to them. And it's all about the points when it comes to Pico cutting. Okay. It's not like normal scissors. It's not the blades on the inner part that's doing the work. It is literally just the tips of the scissors that's doing the work. Okay. I'm going to go with ring locks today. I feel in a ring lock kind of mood even. And I'm going to stay on my super foam because I can Pico cut on that as well. I prefer to Pico cut on the flat. Okay. So let's come in on this camera to see where are we going. That way. Okay, so I'm going to hold, let's go back here for a minute, sorry. I'm going to hold with the point going upwards, what I call the spoon position. Some people prefer the fork position with the blade going down. When I first learned, I learned with the blade going down and holding it in my hand whilst Pico cutting. But now I feel more comfortable in the spoon position on the flat. And I take my thumb on my first finger and come in from underneath. Okay. This hand acts as like a balance. So what we're going to do is pop the tips of the scissors in, and then some people tilt towards them. Some people tilt away from themselves. Some people come towards themselves when they're cutting. Some people cut away. So there's no right or wrong. I tell you what is right or wrong, getting this hand comfortable. So what I need to do is just bring it over this way a little bit more. Okay, so how far have we got? Let's have a look. We're there. Okay. So what we're going to do now is literally the tips of the scissors in, and you squeeze until you see a point forming. And what I'm doing, I'm turning my work so my hand is in a comfortable position. Okay. Just like so. Maybe a good go is just to rest the scissors gently there so you can see that my hand isn't moving. It's just the parchment that's moving. So I'm going to hold it, and now I'm going to just gently move the parchment because we're doing, so I suppose, the skirt of the tree, aren't we? See? And that little sound is very satisfying. So we're going to just go along, just like so. And once you get into a rhythm, see, this can take time, but aren't we glad that we're just doing the bottom parts of the trees? That's a real time saver, just doing the bottom, because in a way we don't need to do the rest of the tree because it's all going to be covered up with the layers that we're creating. Okay, but if you're just doing a single layer, then you could perforate around the whole of the tree and Pico cut. It's entirely up to you. It's all about having the choices, and hopefully over the past few weeks we've shown various different choices when working with this plate, because it is very versatile. You can just trace it exactly how it comes, or you can adapt it just like we are here. You can replace the bows for baubles. You can replace the baubles for bows, because Linda has given us so many elements on these plates. See, also, if I keep my hand where it is here, then it also acts as a guide for the camera as well. So as long as I don't move this hand, then I know when I position my parchment, it's going to be in the right place for the camera. So I've got to keep looking up. Okay, and we're just going to snip, 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 turn. Like a dance move, isn't it? Snip, snip, turn, snip, snip, snip. Try not to spit at your work, Paul, as you're talking. Why did I think that we'd get this tree finished today? Oh dear. It takes as long as it takes. You're in no rush, are you? I mean, it's not, we're only on the 1st of December, so we've got plenty of time to finish our trees off for Christmas. Maybe you want to go all eco, and maybe this is going to be your Christmas tree this year. Probably takes just as long to do this as it would be to decorate a real tree. But we've got loads of time. Okay. You know, I said we've got loads of time. Remind me, as we approach Christmas, how much time we've got left. Oh, goodness me. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to Pico cut this bottom half of this tree first, and then I'm going to go to my straight scissors to cut out the rest of it. I've got a couple of tips for you as well when it comes to that. Okay, so that is the bottom half of my tree Pico cut now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, did I say 1st of December? Sorry, didn't mean to panic everyone. I meant it is the 1st of November, absolutely. Sometimes I talk and don't realise what's coming out of my mouth. So if I did panic, if you're tuning in, it is the 1st of November, not December. Okay, so what I'm going to do to make it easier, I'm just going to cut out my tree roughly, so it's easier to handle. Okay, I'm gonna snip those bits off because that will annoy me. So you have choices. Okay, you can use big scissors, you can use little scissors, or you can use a craft knife. It's entirely up to you what method or what preference you have for cutting things out. Back in the day, when my eyesight was a little better, I would have used a craft knife to cut this out. But I'm going to go for the scissors. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, so that I'm going to come in, let me get rid of this bit. I'm going to come in from underneath, he says, and just to get going, what I'm doing, often when I'm cutting, obviously I open my scissors full length, but just to get into that corner first, I've gone in really closely. And then what I'm doing is I'm holding my scissors in one position and I'm turning my parchment slowly. So I'm guiding the parchment into the scissors. Okay, like so. Then turn it round. And you know what? If you cut into the white line, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. Don't think, oh no, I've ruined it now. Because don't forget, these are going to be covered up. Each of the layers are going to be covered up with the next layer. So if your cutting isn't perfect, okay, then the layer that's going on top will hide any imperfections. But you'll see that what I'm doing is I'm guiding the parchment into the scissors. And then I just reopen the scissors as I come in to that point. Okay. And it'll be exactly the same if I didn't do any Pico cutting at the bottom. Okay. Ooh. This little bit hanging in down here is annoying me. There we go. Sorry. I could just see it from the corner of my eye. So I'm going to carry on. Okay. And just, so now we're getting to the star. Star's easier because it's straight points. So for that, I'm just going to cut in, cut out, cut in, cut out. I mean, obviously you'll know how you prefer to do your cutting. So it's whatever is easiest for you when you're cutting things like this out. Okay. And then, so we've almost got the top of our star done. And now, careful, remove the scissors. And just guide your parchment into that point. I'm actually finding it easier on this side of the tree. Isn't that strange? Exactly the same, but I'm just cutting at a different angle. Some people prefer to use little scissors. Some people prefer larger scissors. Who has a preference to large scissors? I remember when I first started crafting, I had Fiskars scissors, top quality, but they were like dressmaking scissors. They were massive. Not that I made any dresses or anything or did any stuff, but I just liked the size of the blades. Even when I was doing tiny little bits of decoupage, I would always go to the biggest scissors. Ta-da! Let me just get rid of that and bring that in. So that is the first layer of our Christmas tree. And if I pop that onto the card blank, look, if there were any imperfections, by putting it on the card blank, you really can't see, can you? See? Just like so. And then here's the piece that Linda created, and it's no different. Well, Linda's got a little bit more white work than I have, but the overall concept is exactly the same. Okay, so Marilyn, Paul, please can you tell me how to cut the tree out with Pico scissors? Okay, Marilyn, if you when this episode's finished, it's available on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you go, I'd say it's probably, I'd say about 10 past, quarter past, I think we started. I did the perforating, and then obviously we moved on to the Pico cutting. So go back and sort of watch that and you'll see. So where I stopped with the Pico perforating, just continue the perforating around the rest of the tree if you want to do a single layer or Pico cut. It's the same principle, it's just the whole tree rather than just the skirt of the tree. And then hopefully that'll answer that question. So I can't believe, look at that, 11 o'clock, spot on. So next week, we will finish the Christmas tree, I promise. Well, now that I've done it in slow motion, this episode would be great for people to go back and watch. And then next week, we'll speed Pico cut, cut it all out, and then assemble the tree. And we may even get the sticky ink and the glitter out as well, depends how sparkly I'm feeling. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's lovely to have your company again. So where are we now? We're Tuesday. Yes, Groovi Tuesday. So I'll be in the shack with Barb on Thursday, where you continue the snowdrop journey. Beautiful, beautiful. And then up on the TV with Barb on Sunday. I'll be behind the cameras, not filming it, but I'll be behind there assisting. And then back in the shack on Monday and Groovi Tuesday on Tuesday. So enjoy the rest of your week. I hope that the weather behaves wherever you are. I saw some people said they had sunshine. Fingers crossed it stays there. And take care. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye now.